Noted Ukrainian turncoat and Russian collaborator Dmytro Savlichenko was reported to have been liquidated in a car bomb attack in the Ukrainian city of Kherson. Savlichenko was head of the Families, Youth, and Sports Department of the Kherson Military Civilian Administration. Russia's TASS news agency said there were 2 burnt-out cars in a courtyard of Kherson, the regional capital where the blast took place, and that the windows of one 4-story house had been shattered. Images and videos soon surfaced on social media, showing the aftermath of the explosion. The attack comes only 2 days after another assassination attempt against a prominent Russian collaborator occurred in the same city. Yuri Turolev, the self-proclaimed head of the new administration of Chornobayevka, suffered minor shrapnel wounds after the car he was traveling in on his way to work struck an improvised explosive device that had been planted near an intersection. The attempt on the life of Turolev follows his recent listing as a prominent collaborator with Russian occupiers by Ukraine's security service. A regional council deputy and advisor to the chairman of the Kherson Regional Military Administration, Serhiy Klon, said, quote, "Our guerrillas gain another win," adding that Savlichenko has been killed in the explosion that morning. The Ukrainian city of Kherson was the first and only major Ukrainian city to have been occupied by Russian forces. Its close proximity to Russian-occupied Crimea made it an easy target for Russian forces in the opening phases of the war, as well as a difficult city for the Ukrainians to defend, owing to its geographical location in the far south of country. The ruthlessness and brutality with which the Russians stormed the city swiftly drew condemnation from around the world. Furious residents of the city came onto the streets almost immediately to protest the illegal occupation of their city. Russian forces were told by their commanders they would be greeted as liberators by the Ukrainians. However, Russian troops often looked unsure and confused when confronted by angry, unarmed Ukrainian civilians. Russian soldiers had been told by their commanders that they would be greeted as liberators by the Ukrainians, and that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was a Nazi who would flee the country at the first sign of trouble. Russian troops have not been trained to handle complex peacekeeping operations in urban environments. This has predictably led to confrontations with the hostile residents of the city. A regional council deputy and advisor to the chairman of the Kherson Regional Military Administration, Serhiy Klon, went on to say, quote, "Our guerrillas gain another win," adding that an occupation administration official, Dmytro Savlichenko, was killed in the explosion this morning. In a chilling taste of what the rest of Ukraine could face if other cities were to fall, the Russian occupiers of Kherson have since introduced a brutal system of control. This includes replacing legitimate Ukrainian government officials with new officials imposed on the population by the Russian military. Russia has further tightened its grip on the Kherson region since declaring a full takeover in early March, even declaring that all babies born after the full-scale invasion on February 24 would automatically get Russian citizenship. The Ukrainians have refused to take all this lying down. Flyers have routinely popped up in the city showing residents instructions on how to attack the Russian occupiers, while others have featured direct threats against Russian troops controlling the city, such as, "Get ready, we know all your patrol routes." Similar trends have been reported in other cities taken over by Russian forces, where ordinary citizens have used poisoned food and even arson to hit back at the occupying authorities. We expect to see this pattern of attacks continue to expand, as Ukrainian partisan forces learn how to hit back against the Russian occupiers. That's all for this episode. Don't forget to like it, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.